How's it going, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the James Ladd Podcast. And today, our special guest is Kyle from RollPros. How are you doing today, Kyle?
Oh, man. Couldn't be any better. To the top of the world.
Awesome. Yeah, so it's great having you out here finally. I've got to come to your facility, see what you guys do in person. We got a Blackbird in November 1st with my partners in San Francisco, and we love it. It's the most amazing thing because I feel like it gives you the closest experience to a hand roll joint as you can get from a machine.
Hey, that was the whole goal, right? I really value a good joint.
Yeah.
And I want to change this world one joint at a time.
Yeah, and I love that. I love that because I feel like we're on the same path in that regard. Like I'm chasing that experience and being able to provide that experience through genetics, also through rolling, and then working together with you guys. I feel like we can accomplish something that requires a team. It's not something I could do on my own. It's not something any one person could do because there's so many components to get it to the point where it's that amazing experience.
Totally. Yeah. And that was heavily biased in my engineering of the actual machine was each one of those components you talk about.
Yeah.
And that's, some of the things that I really want to get into on this show is, how do we deconstruct the joint into the components that, really matter to the end experience?
Right.
Because I know you know that as much as anybody in this industry.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting how many actual components go into making a perfect joint, right? Or an amazing joint, and perfect is an interesting word because quality is so subjective to the individual. What's perfect for me might not be perfect to the next person. But when I saw the double XL, it just changed my thinking about what's even possible with joints because I was thinking, okay, these 1 gram joints, it takes something that I'm already doing and it makes it accessible for everybody. We can go into the market with these 1 gram joints. It's very inexpensive for people to get an amazing experience. But then I went out and you invited me to the launch of your double XL, and the Blackbird double XL. For those of you guys that don't know, it rolls up to 2.5 grams. It rolls, you guys call them blunts. They're not tobacco blunts, but they are big doinks. They are big joints. And it's a very consistent thing. I do hand rolls. So I love hand rolls. And it gives you a similar experience. But what it does is it makes it accessible for people that wouldn't normally be able to afford it to be able to get a good experience.
100%. Yeah. And that's, I'm the same way. I'm a hand roller too. That's how it all started.
Right.
And I, the 1 gram joints on the Blackbird standard, that was the real need that I saw because of the volume, right? 1 gram's just flying off the shelf. And then the blunt machine was really like kind of just, us showing off at that point, just being like, you know what, let's do like the biggest, let's do a glass tip, let's add a band around it. Like, let's, really like shoot for the stars on like a big old, I call them doinks, like it's just a big joints.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can run hemp wrap, you can run normal rice paper. So
yeah, and it literally puts the band on for you. It does all the stuff that like us as hand rollers would do. And it's very consistent, right? And I think that's the biggest thing with machines as opposed to humans. There's that human error and you're going to have inconsistencies. Not that it's a good or a bad thing, because I think there's something we said for artisanal still, and there's a place for it. There's always going to be a place for hand rolls, right? But I feel like it's just something that can be scaled, and it can be scaled so people can appreciate your flower if you're a grower, or, your genetics if you're a breeder. And it's just, we're moving in this direction of this amazing world that we're going into. I think some people are scared of it, but I really am trying to embrace the world that we're going into with legalization. And I feel like we all should be embracing it to a degree and figuring out how we can adapt to it. And part of that is getting a lower price point for some of our things like joints. How can we save money, use the best genetics possible, and save money so that the consumer gets a better priced product?
Totally. That's the main kind of motivation for automation is that, let's get the scale up and let's get that volume throughput up per the size of the business. And I've got a huge history in automation, but I'm more so on the product development side. And when developing a product, you want to you want to make it different, you know, like you don't want to just follow. That's typical automation is you look at how it's done and then you say, all right, I'm going to put a robot here. I'm going to put a little finger here and move it here. And I saw that that's how like the rest of the, you know, pre-roll industry is going. Mm-hmm. And I was like, well, let's go back to like the hand roll and like, let's invent around that process. And then let's make it so, yeah, the operator can dial in kind of those elements that we're talking about, like the paper, the tip, the draw.
Yeah.
And so that was kind of like the real motivation was to like enhance these craftsmen and give them more of a tool belt to make premium quality joints at scale.
Well, and your technology is based on the old school belt rollers, you know, that have been around since the 70s, I believe, maybe even the 60s. Yeah. But the old school rolling, we called them rolling machines back in the day, but it was an old school belt roller. And it's based on the same concept, right? And so you get a straight joint, but it's very repeatable and very fast because they can roll. I mean, as we're going 1,400 joints an hour in some cases, right? And I think you guys market it as 900, but really it's as fast as you want it to go. And 1,400 is very doable.
Yeah.
You know, at 1 gram.
Totally. Yeah. And we like to undersell just because I want you to start hitting those numbers like 12, 1,400 and like get stoked, you know? Right. That is definitely like one of our things is we're trying to build trust in this industry. And it's, you know, a lot of the guys on the outside, they don't smoke, you know, these equipment manufacturers, they're just like, it's just an offshoot of their other existing company.
Right.
And, you know, RollPros we're 100% just behind this machine. We're based here in the US, you know, we're in Vancouver, Washington, and everything's made in-house. It's it's the American dream, right? Like, and we're very proud of that. And yeah, that's what really allows us to provide a great solution to customers all across the States.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive what you guys are doing there and what you guys have built. And I feel like it's just another one of these success stories that started in a garage, right? Like so many other entrepreneurs, they started in a garage and they built it from the ground up and started with their very first machine and really has evolved into what it is now, which is pretty wild. And you have a lot of employees. You know, Kevin, he's the one who really got me on board with RollPros. We started talking and I had seen the joints, but I didn't realize it was the same joint because with RollPros, a skilled operator is important, right? That's one of the most important things. You have to have an operator that takes pride in their work and also understands quality, because if you don't understand the quality, then it's going to be hard for you to create that same thing over and over and over and get that good experience.
Yeah, 100%. Like I'm trying to empower the craftsman, right? And at the end of the day, your operator becomes that craftsman.
Yeah.
And, you know, we have tools around them to help them shape their SOPs. You know, we've got the crutch saber, and the particle, I think we call it the particleizer or something, but, you know, ways to like judge the incoming material. Oh, same with a moisture content reader, like that's huge. And then we have the post roll, you know, the draw check,
which is one of the coolest things because you can actually use it with your hand rolls.
Yeah.
And so we can really dive into what about the hand roll is so great is as far as airflow, right? Because airflow, most people don't even consider airflow because they don't have a draw check, right? But the second you have it, if you're a hand roller, even if you have the machine, you're going to be using it for your hand rolls to, okay, well, certain tissue type actually works better at a higher PSI. And certain tissue type works better at a low. Like Skittles is like a 35, whereas a cookies is towards 50 for us, right? And so it's so customizable too. And it's like you can go, you know, some people are going to go run it the same with everything. But for us, we want to roll it different. Per cultivar, it's going to get a little bit different with everything from the crutch size, obviously, because they're all the same length. So you have to adjust the crutch size by tissue type. And so something that's fluffy like a Skittles might be a 9.5 as far as 9.5 millimeter, and something like a cookies might be an 8. And that might not sound like a lot, to most people, but if you look at the joint, it's significantly bigger with the Skittles, right? And it's a little bit fluffier. And so you need more airflow. So that's why 35 works better than 50.
Yeah.
But also, right now, white ash is such a big thing, you know, and I think over the next year, we're going to try to break that down and explain to people that maybe white ash isn't the most important thing. And I think there's a lot of people that already agree with us, but right now, some people would rather have white ash than flavor. And I think I understand that you eat with your eyes, and these quality indicators are important, but I really feel like a lot of these tests and a lot of these competitions should be done blindfolded, right? Like,
oh yeah,
you shouldn't see what you're getting. And I don't think it's particularly important if you're putting it in a pre-roll or a joint, hand roll, hash roll. I don't think it's important what the flour looks like. It should be, how does it taste? How does it make you feel? Those should be the most important things, right? Is there a burning in your throat? Is it smooth? Is there a long finish? Because the cultivator did a really good job with it. But also you can control some of those things by airflow.
Oh yeah. Well, that's airflow, I think, is king. Yeah. Like, I think that is like the number one thing that I would look at as you're doing per cultivar is like, what should the draw be on, Skittles versus Ron's versus any of these.
Yeah.
And then translating that to the experience is the next part. And that's where I think, our eyes can be deceiving.
So many times.
Yeah. And so I worked prior to this, I was working at Meta and I was in AR, the AR goggles, and you can trick your mind, like it happens all the time. And I think that no other industry, like, would this not be a blind thing, right? Like like look at like a Coke test, Coke versus Pepsi, it's like everything is labeled and it's all like blind. And I think that's where, we talk about this too, like creating like the sommelier's chart to like, how do you decipher the different notes and the different parts of the experience.
Right.
And like, one is like flavor, one is like, throat hit. Like, does this one hurt? Is it too hot?
How smooth is it? How hot does it get?
Yeah.
All those things. And I think cherry temperature plays a role in there. Paper type plays a role in there because there's all these different types of paper you can use. But you can really just start breaking it down. I mean, there's so much with like, and that's not even talking about effect, right? Because effect, it really can go into 20 different quality indicators or 20 different, not even quality indicators, but you can, like onset, right? Like with effect. But diving back into flavor, it's like, there's like the initial flavor, how long is the finish? When does it peak and when does it fade? And then like, how intense is it? And then the type of flavor, we can go into there and flavor transfer. Because I think that's a big one too. It's like, so you smell it and it smells a certain way, but does that transfer into the flavor?
Right. Yeah. And that's, one of my favorite, stories about this is Benson Arbor. They're out of Southern Oregon. Noah's a great guy. He was a very early believer in RollPros and the Blackbird.
Nice.
And he grows some phenomenal outdoor flower. But he was having a hard time selling it on the shelf because they do apothecary style and everything's like, everybody's drawn towards, the crystal-y or the purple,
right.
And he had this amazing flower that you couldn't really appreciate it until you smoked it.
Yeah.
And so he quickly switched everything over to pre-rolls and you force people to experience it with your mouth instead of your eyes.
Right.
And he's crushing it in Oregon now because of it. And he's got just some phenomenal genetics. And he's been, you were talking about this too, like growing genetics specifically for the Blackbird.
Right.
He's been doing it for like 5 years now.
Yeah. We're literally breeding stuff specifically for the Blackbird, specifically for joints, where you'll never see you might see the flower, but for the most part, the general public won't see the flower. They're just going to get the pre-roll and they're going to trust the brand, hopefully. And they're going to go, man, this is amazing. It tastes absolutely amazing. And man, the effect is just fantastic. And, Sonoma Hills is another one. They're same thing. They're doing stuff. I mean, they have white ash for their outdoor, and which is really impressive. I rarely see that. And not that that's necessarily a quality indicator, but it's pretty impressive what they're doing with outdoor, with their pink Jesus. They won at the state fair.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and back to the white ash, we were just talking yesterday about you can increase the draw pressure on the Blackbird, it's a click of a button.
Yeah.
And you can make a joint burn with white ash. Like you can do that. Same grind, same cultivar, same everything. And you can have a joint that runs like black ash where you would have a very low draw. So you just be like hitting a cigarette.
Yeah.
And then you can tighten it all the way down. So it's a heavy draw. And now you're going to have white ash.
Yeah. And the drip is also the same thing that depending on how it's rolled, the tighter it rolls, the more of a drip you're going to get.
Yeah.
With that oil ring that goes around there. And it's so funny with all these things. And it's like moisture content is another one that plays a huge role that I don't think most people consider. And it's like, there's things like the Canitrol. We just interviewed David the other day, and being able to adjust your moisture content if you're working with really dry flower is super important, especially for joints.
Yeah.
You want it in that 10 to 12 range, and I think it's, if we're talking about water activity, we dived into water activity and the difference between bound water and, water content with water activity. And it's an interesting conversation.
Yeah. Well, and that's like, honestly, that's our biggest benefit to these brands is you can run higher moisture content, like bar none, than any kind of cone filling, cone stuffing situation.
Yeah.
And even bring this to any other like manufacturer, they'll all say they recommend you keeping the room at 10 to 20% relative humidity of these other cone stuffing machines.
Yeah, if you're rolling cones, you have to be low humidity and you have to have fine particles, right?
Yeah.
It's the only way it works.
Yeah, and that that would crush me as a grower, to have to tear apart your flower and lose all those terps. And you can taste it. It's like really easy to see what that tastes like. And so that's our machine is really, it's designed around the belt style rollers. And what that does is it allows you to feed flower through bigger openings.
Right.
And you can run really fresh, sticky, and infused flower.
Well, and it's not that I have a problem with cones or don't have a problem with cones, but as far as how you get to the point of being able to put it in a cone, you're basically having to blend it up. And most people use either a food processor or a blender, Ninja Blender, Vitamix. They're blending them up to be able to get them in there. And because the price point is so cheap, a lot of people are putting garbage in. That's one of the problems. But also, I was talking to Alec from SC Labs. He was on the podcast. I interviewed him. He said the average joint and pre-roll that he tests at their lab tests at 0.5% terpenes. And I guarantee you it's because they're destroying the terpenes. It's not that flower all tests that low when it's in flower form, but to get it to the point where it goes in a joint where you have to pull all the moisture out of it and then you have to grind it up. That's where the problem lies, in my opinion.
Totally. Yeah, I agree 100% with that. And I get it. It's that's a part of the market is that high volume, low cost. Some people just want to get high. And I totally understand that. And I'm not anti-cone really.
Yeah.
And that's where we're trying to differentiate ourselves. We roll joints. We're a joint company, and anything that where you're filling a cone, that's, a pre-roll.
Stuffing as opposed to rolling.
Yeah. And, then there's a whole environmental impact too, right? If we go down that rabbit hole of how these cones are made overseas by hand, and then
carbon footprint, you're shipping them off to Asia and then they're coming back here. And whereas with the RollPros and with joints, you're basically getting the paper over here, rolling them over here. It's just a little more environmentally friendly.
Yeah. And that's a little bit of my Portland coming out is if I'm going to come into this and build a whole machine and ecosystem around this machine, I want to do it in a conscious of the environment, right?
How very Portland is.
I know, totally. Right? I know. Yeah. I'm aware.
Yeah, I was born in Portland. I was totally, so I get it, and I totally get it. And I think that it's great. I think we have to make these little conscious efforts.
Yeah.
Every one of us should be making some form of a conscious effort, because as a whole, if we're all making little efforts, it adds up to being something big.
100% agree with that. Yeah.
So yeah, let's talk about you for a little bit, because I think you have a really interesting history as far as how you got into this. So prior, you worked with printers, you have patents. Let's dive into how even that started.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yeah. So cannabis has always been very, very much like a creative enabler for me, or a creative catalyst. And I grew up very, mechanical, loved cars, took apart my first car before I could even drive. As I grew up, wasn't that great in high school. I never trust the standard, whenever anybody says like, that's just the way it is, right. I just can't, like, to my very core, like, I can't just believe it. I got to ask, like, why? And so that's kind of like my basis. And so high school was kind of hard for me, because I was like, why do I have to go to class? Like, what's all this about?
Same.
And, and I think that's the other cool thing is, like, all of these growers, like, we're all in the same boat in that, because we've been told weed's bad since we were kids. And it's like, we proved that wrong pretty quick.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden now you're like, well, what else is wrong? And I think that's where it started for me. And I realized that I could help whole industries by asking those questions. So yeah, I started in medical actually. And the rib plate that I helped design was one of the first like plastically deformable implants.
Wow.
And it went on the chest wall. And the cool thing is, like, so your rib bones are really fragile and frail. They're just like very low density. And current solutions where, like, you just cut somebody way open, you put a giant plate on them and, like, 16 screws.
Totally.
And that was like invasive, and they didn't always hold because those screws didn't have much purchase.
Right.
So I designed this plate that goes around the bone, and then you collapse it onto the bone, and then you sink a screw through, and you have like very good purchase now on the bone.
Oh.
And this was like, I was an intern, right? So I was an intern. I had an engineering degree, but I was still just interning, and I was able to like affect the opinion of like these like well-known surgeons. And now looking back, like, that's like one of the company's top products, and they're killing it. And so it's like, at the time I was just kind of like having fun and asking the right questions, and kind of like,
nice.
Figuring out like, how can I fix this, in a cool, creative way. And then, then I wanted to do more, like, so that was regulated by the FDA. So that was like kind of hard for me too, because it's like all these auditors saying like, this is how you have to do it. And I'm like, but the design took me like 6 months, and then it took me like a year and a half, right, to get it to market. Oh. And that wasn't fast enough for me. So then I went into consulting, and that's where I worked at HP.
Nice.
I was a paper path engineer. So I got to bring some of that to the RollPros unit, which was kind of cool.
Well, the Blackbird kind of feels like a really expensive printer. It has like this printer vibe for sure.
Totally. Yeah. And then I took a little bit. So then I worked at Meta, worked on one of the first augmented reality prototypes. Won kind of a big competition with them where, Zuckerberg had it. He wore it during one of the big conventions.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, really started pushing the boundaries there. And they taught me to collect data from anything that you make. Mm-hmm. And so that's all the Blackbirds are, they're connected via Ethernet or Wi-Fi. We're constantly trying new firmwares. We're, proactively helping people, because like, we'll be like, oh, you guys had like 10 errors in the last hour. Like, let's get on a call with them and see what's up,
Yeah. Yeah, you guys have really good customer service. I mean, and everybody who works for your company loves working for your company. I love that about RollPros and a lot of cannabis companies. People love working for the companies for the most part.
Yeah, if anybody's ever been to like any other trade shows in their life or worked any other booths, like they're so lame.
Yeah.
But it's like you go to a cannabis trade show or like a conference or, anything or competition.
Right.
And it's just a big party and everybody's just stoked that, this plant is finally legalized. Like we spent our entire childhoods, being like someday we'll show them that this is, okay. And we're there.
We're there. I mean, we still have some steps to go. We take one step back and two steps forward a lot of times, but that's just the reality of anything in life. Uphill battle.
Totally.
But it's pretty amazing. Like from 1996, when it first became legal, 215 passed. Dennis Barone, shout out.
Yeah.
Passing 215. I knew it would be legal sometime in my lifetime, and now we're here. I'm 48 years old. I was very young when that happened. We had the medical days that were absolutely amazing. The golden age of legalization with dispensaries and deli style in California, where you could actually see the bud before you purchased it. You could smell it. But yeah, and now we're here to where it's it's turning into something much bigger. It's being commercialized. It has the potential to be great. It doesn't have to be Budweiser. The thing is we're working so backwards from the beer industry, post 1934, where they had only a handful of brewery. They had the big four, and that was that way for 50 years before we had microbreweries, right?
Yeah.
Portland, going back to Portland, microbrewery capital of the world.
Yeah.
Small batch beers. And then craft beer, right?
Yeah.
Craft beer was born in the 80s, really.
Yeah.
So, and we're the opposite. We have all the craft, and now we have big companies emerging out of there trying to be craft. And it's really interesting where it's going in the next 5 to 10 years, because I think like tobacco, I mean, there's not a lot of loose tobacco being sold now. And I think 100 years ago there was, right? But most people want convenience. They want their cigarettes, their cigars, their chew, whatever, but mostly cigarettes.
Yeah. It's funny you bring up craft because like that, my dad, he was big in the craft movement of craft beer.
Nice.
And he sold malt for Great Western Malting. His name's Brad Loucks. Hopefully somebody out there like recognizes that. But he had his first micro beer. We were living in like Iowa. He's from the Midwest. And he had his first micro beer in Iowa, and he was like, oh my gosh, like I need to get into this, like this is going to be big. And he moved, our whole family to Portland area, and he like dedicated his entire career to this craft beer movement.
Nice.
And so we're always talking about like the similarities in the industries, because it's like everybody we're yearning for the craft of being different, like a different, like, different flavor profile, different cultivar.
Yeah.
And I think that it's kind of it's a cool thing that you're right. We're starting like kind of more at the bottom instead of like breaking off from these like top four.
Yeah.
It's like we've got, thousands of like good cultivators.
Yeah.
And everybody's bringing like, genetics from their closet, or like some pheno hunts they've been doing in the back 40.
Right.
And I'm like, as like a weed lover, like I love it. Like, and I want to make sure that every craft grower is able to survive, because it's a hard market with that many players.
Well, and home brewing wasn't legal until the 70s, right? Yeah. So like literally it wasn't until I believe 1978 in San Francisco. It had to do with Anchor Steam, the owner of Anchor Steam, Fred Maytag. I know a lot of weird history, right? but yeah, I mean, it got, maybe it was earlier than 78, but it was around 78. And he helped pass home brewing legal. It became legal to homebrew. And so that's where, companies like Lagunitas, and I worked with Lagunitas, and all these beer companies evolved out of that, these craft beer companies. And then our cannabis community has home growers everywhere, right? And so there's this opportunity, and I hope that a lot of them evolve into big business, from every state. I feel like we're still trying to figure out these laws, but I feel like there's this opportunity too, where like, if you believe in it enough, you should be allowed to do whatever you want to do as far as starting a business. Maybe we need to change the cottage laws to where people can grow from their house and sell to people. I think farmers in the Emerald Triangle should be able to sell direct to consumer. That's not a thing right now, but that will be a thing in the future. It has to be. You can do it for wine. You can do it for beer. You better be able to do it for cannabis.
Totally. Yeah. I would love it to go that direction.
Yeah.
Go out to, weed country for the weekend, stay at an Airbnb out there and walk through the fields and smoke with some of the old timers up there.
Get their stories. I mean, I think a lot of it is about the story, the whole, if we're chasing experiences, and you're a cannabis guy, what better experience than going out to a farm and learning how this guy grew the plant, what he used as far as inputs, his story, his history, because I feel like genetics a lot of times, or flower even, is an extension of the person who grew it. Just like the RollPros is an extension of you created it. It's your legacy to a degree. And a lot of these farmers, that's their legacy. And what better way to learn more about the cannabis industry and get an amazing experience than going direct to the source?
Oh, totally. Yeah. And those guys have amazing stories, it's like they've got
crazy stories.
Yeah. Eric Young up at Hogwash Farms. Like I bring him up because I just love the guy.
Yeah.
He's just like, and I would love to like walk the fields with him. And, these growers, especially like the outdoor guys, they're like weather guys too, like they're talking about microclimates and how like where the fog lays and how this is a great spot because it's got wind in the morning. And
right.
It's, the breadth of knowledge that the home grower and like the craftsman in this industry is, it's similar to like a PhD.
Yeah.
It's insane. Like VPDs, like fertigation programs. It's like, in order to be like a really good grower and have like a quality product, you got to be such an amazing businessman too. Like you got to hold it all together. And, I have a huge respect for all those guys. We work with like Seed Junkie and Jungle Boys and like
Doghouse.
Yeah, John Hudnall's great.
John's one of my friends. Yeah, for sure. Great guy. And then, I see a lot of these big companies like Seed Junkie and Jungle Boys adapting. And now, Ray Bauman, he's been on the podcast. Shout out to Ray from Runts and Fire Society. They're getting the 2.5 grammer. Flow Gardens, they're getting the 2.5 grammer. They're getting the double XL.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that it's being adapted by big companies and small companies alike. People are understanding the value of it because it's not a cheap machine, right? It's like there are cheaper machines, but they're not anything close, right? To what you guys are doing, and it's an interesting thing because I feel like you get what you pay for.
Totally. Yeah. And that's the thing is like, once you're in the club and you get it, like, I fly people up to Vancouver all the time. Like anybody that wants to like, come on out, like, and bring like, bring as much weed as you're comfortable traveling with and like, and we'll roll it up and like, and we'll smoke it. And that's the selling factor. It's like, it's not the numbers, not the throughput. The throughput is great, as you know. But it's like, it's that experience and that translates to more sales more than anything. If your customer, if their first experience is like, one of these 0.5 grams that's got extremely great flavor, like they're going to come back and they're going to keep, that's what builds brands.
Totally. Well, and it's like with my partner, what he's doing is he's telling people to, because we're in Metric in California, we're adult use. We provide tolling for other companies. So bring your flower down. Let's have a meeting. And we'll roll some of yours up and you hand roll it however you would and smoke them side by side and tell us what you think.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like that is that's the true test.
Totally.
And it's like, so, we can take 10 of these that are super consistent versus your hand roll that may or may not be amazing. But I feel like you can compare and you can understand a lot better once you've experienced it.
Totally. Yeah. And I still hand roll. Like that's still like, I try to keep that skill up. But like, honestly, I can't, like, you can't match the quality and the consistency of that rolled cylinder through the Blackbird. It's
Right.
you know,
Especially at scale. In any business that wants to scale, you want consistency. I mean, that's one of the most important things, is having a consistent product, whether it's good or bad. At least the customer knows when they go in, it's going to be like this, right?
Yeah.
If it's like this one time, it's not like that the next time, then it's good, and then it's bad. It's like, it's very confusing for the customers, and customers, after it's bad once, they're not going to want it, right?
Totally. I mean, that's, my first experience with like a legal pre-roll, like, burned me. Like, I still know the brand that I bought it from, and I was like, it was horrible, and it was hot, tasted like crap, and it looked beautiful. I was like, oh man, this is way back in, 2016.
Yeah.
And it was like, that was enough like of a burn to me that that's like what sent me into the garage to start working on like making a better joint.
Yeah.
Because everything was a cone, and I was just like, there's got to be a better way, because I hand roll way better than this.
Totally.
So yeah, it's funny. And these companies that have great flour on the shelf, but then they have like a low cost pre-roll that's just like,
where they put trim in. Yeah, I see that a lot. And, there's some guys on Instagram that actually have built their Instagram accounts by cutting open joints and showing people what's in them. And these pre-rolls, there's a lot of big companies that are just putting trim in because they want the cheapest joint possible for their customers. Smoking trim isn't good for you.
No.
And I think a lot of it is leaf. You're smoking leaf and not trichomes. It gives you a headache. It just doesn't taste good, for one thing. And it doesn't give you a good experience. And I'm an experience chaser anyway. So I'm always looking for a good experience, and how can I make that experience accessible to everybody?
Yeah.
And so it's like things like the RollPros, it's like, I feel like that's the future of this industry, and it's only going to grow in market share. Joints over the next 10 years, I feel like joints and cartridges, love them or hate them, they're going to be taking over the market because of the convenience factor. And if you can make it more convenient for someone to go buy a joint that smokes better than their hand roll, they're going to do it.
Totally. Yeah. I always say, like, we're not really like taking market share from like the other like stuffed cones.
Right.
We're really taking it kind of from the flour guys, because that's, people that buy flour and roll at home, like, everybody does that. And it's because they don't trust the pre-rolls out there.
Yeah. And I think people are going to give me a lot of shit for saying this, but I think in 50 years, the loose flour that we love, that I will smoke till the day I die, is going to be a thing of the past. It's going to be a very, very, very small percentage of the community will smoke, just like with tobacco. And I think that's just what happens when you commercialize something. And over time, people want convenience, and they want this experience in this nice little package. And there's an art that goes along with being able to roll, even taking bong rips. I feel like bong rips are amazing. I love bong rips, right? But I feel like even that is going to go and shrink and shrink and shrink because people love convenience.
Yeah. Yeah. And once you have the convenience and the experience combined, and you start building that trust with your customer, that's all you go to, It's like, I was just talking to John, Hudnall about this, and he's like, his ashtray at home went from, cached kind of like bowls to little like RollPros, like end of joints. And it's because he's like, dude, I like it better. It's easier. I can be out on the, on the back porch. Like, you can be on a hike. It's like,
super convenient.
And it's just as good of an experience, like, you can taste all the different parts of the flour. I particularly like the, like, as you have that hot smoke going down the length of the joint, that green hit, you're volatilizing all those terpenes on that whole length of the joint.
Right.
And so you really get like a powerful like flavor that is kind of unmatched, in any other like smoking experience.
Yeah. I totally agree. Yeah, I love the experience around it, and I feel like it's convenient because it takes time to roll a joint. And obviously we're smoking a lot because we're QCing them all the time. So I'm smoking a few of on the worst day, I'm smoking 5 probably. Right. And tasting 5 different ones. And I might smoke them halfway down. I might smoke them a quarter of the way down, but I'm really trying to QC everything all the time. We're messing around with infusing them.
Yeah.
Right. So we're doing the infusions for a while. My partner was doing hash holes. He was pausing and doing the hash holes in there, and which really cool, 1 gram hash holes, but I think we're always trying to figure out how to improve. I think that it's a never ending thing. Like, okay, well, how, a lot of people are like, well, once it's perfect, it's perfect. It's like, it's never perfect. No. None of this stuff is, whether you're a cultivator, whether you're breeding, there is no end goal. The end goal is to improve.
Yeah. You're always like, there's always something to improve, and that's one of my favorite parts about the machine is it's modular. So as we start improving it, back at headquarters with my engineering team, we're able to release these new features out into like the fleet of Blackbirds that are out there.
Totally.
And one of the ones that I'm really excited about is this hash hole feature that we're going to start shipping it out. I'd say probably in the next like 6 to 8 weeks. So if you've got a Blackbird, hang tight, but we're going to get you some dope firmware.
I can't wait. I can't wait for that. I've been excited about that since the double XL came out. Yeah. And that was a conversation like last summer.
Yeah.
Like literally someday we're going to have, and now it's here, right? Like literally, I think the concept is amazing. I think that, I do hand rolled hash holes. That's part of what we do with tolling. Mm-hmm. And I think you can get an amazing, consistent experience, probably more consistent than I hate to say that you'll be able to get a more consistent experience, but it's machine driven, right? And so the artisanal side, I love the artisanal side, but if we're looking for consistency, you're probably going to get a more consistent experience from a machine rolled hash hole.
Totally. Yeah. And that's, we're all about the highest quality, right? And that's, there's a lot of ways you can infuse our joints. A lot of people doing the injectors, pre-infusing material, and they all like work. Mm-hmm. But the hash hole is like the king, because now you have like this cold cured hash that has all of those really volatile terpenes still intact.
Right.
And yeah, we did some testing up at HQ. That's why I'm comfortable saying this is going to come out really soon here.
Yeah.
Because you can pause the machine in a certain state. You make a little like bed for the worm, and you drop a little worm of hash, and then it fills more flour on top, and then it drops it down and rolls it.
Yeah.
And we did that in it was probably about like 20 joints, and they all like burned phenomenal, just like that hash hole experience. And so, yeah, we're really excited about that.
We should talk about crutch covers, because the one complaint people get is the confetti, and it's like, it doesn't take away from the experience. Yeah. It's like, if you're eating with your eyes, it's one of the things. If your first joint, you pull it out, you're like, what is this confetti that's in the crutch? Right. But you guys already have a solution for that that's coming out this year.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So that's another thing that we released it on the blunt machine. So it's got, the little label around it, little cigar band.
Yeah.
And, I've been like a function over fashion guy. My wife will tell you that too forever.
Sure.
So I was just like, I just want to make the best smoking joint. And I kind of like just was blind to, the rest of it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the tip around the tip is it's gonna set brands apart. Finally, the joint is gonna look as premium as it smokes.
Yeah.
And now you're not like hiding the brand behind paper. It's like literally just like a whole sticker around like right where you're smoking. And they look great, the ones in R&D right now. And yeah, you guys are gonna get like an early prototype that we're going to like get some miles on.
That's awesome. We can't wait. We can't wait, because I feel like that's the only thing that people can, literally that's the only thing they can complain about. Yeah. And everyone wants to find something wrong, right? Every person, they can smoke them. They're like, oh man, this is amazing. Then it's like the ash discussion, like, oh, well, if you want more ash, we're not going to get quite as much flavor, but we can get the white ash. That's not a problem, right?
Yeah.
Taking that back, oh, well, if you want more flavor, we're just going to go make it a little looser. There's going to be a little more airflow in there.
Yeah.
And you can smoke them side by side and make your own decision. The confetti is something we can't do anything about yet, but very soon. It's like now we have the complete solution. And you guys also do packaging. So if people want their RollPros packaged, they can come to us. We can go to you guys. You guys can design it. You guys will supply packaging as well. I feel like you have this complete solution, which is great. And you guys have a good design team. Everyone's really on it too.
Yeah. Yeah. We're just, I'm all about taking care of the customer, and so much that, we take on other problems that the customer has, like packaging or, we're even, we did swag for a couple of companies, it's just like, we've got a graphic designer. We're already doing packaging for some people. It's like, we should be taking off as much of those those ancillary things from our customer.
Right.
And they're already ordering from us, so it's like, why not, throw the boxes on there and we can make a whole, the whole program, and we see what works for people. So, I've got tons of customers that have iterated packaging and they've found kind of like what works right for their market.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to share that with, newcomers to the space.
Yeah, we're still playing around with packaging. We're using some of the old packaging that we had for bigger joints with the RollPros, with the tubes. We've been talking to Grove bags. They have an insert that seems to work really well. And it's interesting how many different companies you can work with to create a really good product. And that's not even including all the cultivation stuff with lighting and nutrients and all these other things. Because really, if we look at the whole chain of events that occurs between the genetics and the joint, there are so many different little micro components that improve the or could take away the quality.
That's a good point. Yeah.
So like storage, how you store it after you roll it. The obviously the moisture content before you roll it, but then what happens after you roll it? Are you just going to put it on the shelf in an 80-degree room?
Right.
Because it has a very, very short shelf life. But if you put it in a Grove bag, and you put it in a Grove bag 6 months later, you could potentially have something that is smokable. Totally. I'm not going to say it's the best. I'm not going to say that it's as good as a fresh product, but it's going to be better than if you were to just put it on the shelf.
Totally. Yeah. And that's, those are some of the things that we're learning in packaging is like what, doob tubes don't really do anything for like sealing it. It's like, and that sucks unless you're moving enough product that it's like always off the shelf.
Sure.
But yeah, you got to have some kind of a seal around your flower, whether it's in a jar with a hermetic seal or it's in a Mylar bag, or there are some tubes that have like a little cork, like a little rubber cork.
Right. Those work pretty well.
Yeah, I like those.
So do you think it's better if you roll fresh? That's to me, it would make the most sense is like roll what you need and try not to have inventory sitting on the shelves if at all possible, because the second you grind that stuff up or mill it, however you're doing it, we're milling it through, the machine. And then like literally once it's milled through there, you want to sell it as quickly as possible, get it into somebody's lungs as quickly as possible. So I feel like putting inventory on the shelves is not necessarily the best way to go. Yeah.
Well, and that's, so it's funny, we talk about environmental conditions a little bit. We're the only machine that the environmental conditions is the same as your cure room.
Yeah.
So you want to have like relative humidity around 60%, 40 to 60, and you want to have, temperatures in the appropriate area. Cause again, we're all about keeping that flower fresh. And we're also all about, keep it in bud form as long as you can. So then, you grind up what you need for the day for that shift,
right?
Grind it, get it through the machine, and then get it into your packaging just as soon as possible. Because, after you mill it up, it smells phenomenal, you're like, and like, if you smell it, that means you're losing it, And so we're like, mill it quick, put it through the machine, and then get it into a packaging so you can store it.
Yeah.
And it'll make it to your customer's mouth.
Preserve the terps.
Yeah, exactly.
Preserve the terps as much as possible.
Exactly.
And oxidation is another bad thing. I think there's, I feel like nitrogen, we used the nitrogen tuna cans for a little while. I feel like people are going to revisit nitrogen in the very near future. I mean, we're looking at that too. And it's like being able to use nitrogen blankets to help preserve terps. I think with RollPros potentially makes a lot of sense. we're still experimenting with it to see if it actually makes a difference.
Yeah.
But a lot of these things are trial and error. Like that's the tuna cans. Obviously it didn't work, right? It was a big thing in 2018. Everyone's like, you got to use tuna cans and you got to use nitrogen.
Yeah.
Nitrogen blankets it. It preserves it. And there's so much more to it than just that with preserving it. I mean, I think moisture content, water activity is super important before it even goes in. It's not just one thing. It's a bunch of components stacked together that are going to give you that perfect end product.
Totally. Yeah. And that comes back to that well-rounded like owner operator, right? Like they gotta be sticklers for quality. They gotta be packaging experts that, it's like the level of like skill set that they need to have is wide. Yeah. And so, we're trying to carve off like our market, right? And just being like, you know what? You guys are the growers. You're the experts at making sure that this flour is going to come into the pre-roll, unit at its like premium form. And then, we'll help you take it to the final races, and make sure that your customer gets that great experience.
Yeah. It's an interesting time. It's an interesting time to be alive with everything that's going on, with Schedule 3. I think a lot of people were afraid of Schedule 3, but now we're looking at it like if you're on the adult use side, the potential for Schedule 3 within the next few years is to be able to export internationally. And the potential for that is it sounds pretty amazing when you start thinking about it. It's like, okay, we don't have to just sell it in California or Oregon or Washington or Colorado or any of the legal states. There's potential that we can export our product internationally like other countries are doing. And then we can, play on the international market, and that could save a lot of companies.
Well, yeah, and it's just going to help. It's going to help us get our name out. Right now, the USA has, we're the world's focus for cannabis, and it's unfortunate, and maybe that's partly because we're, people can't get it. Right. But it's like, I talked to these guys in Amsterdam that are doing the experiment, over there, and they're all like just in awe with like what we're doing here in the United States. So totally, I think it's important for us to like, be proud of that. And then also like, we should be trying to push legislature so we can get our product out there. Yeah. And we can show, these other countries like the amazing feats that we've been able to accomplish here. 'Cause it really is like spectacular.
Yeah. So how long before we see RollPros in other countries?
I mean, well, Canada, we're already up there.
That doesn't count.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're really close. I mean, we've got the CE mark, like the machine is all like, all the components are CE and UL and all that. Nice. But we do have to go through the actual regulatory like process. And I'd say we're about 3/4 of the way through that. Nice. And then we'll start exploring. Yeah, like I'd love to help Amsterdam because they're another one that they're on the forefront. They're same as like Humboldt. They legalized it.
Yeah, Amsterdam and the Netherlands would be amazing. I think Spain too, but it's a different world. Spain is kind of, but Germany, Mary Jane. You got to go to Mary Jane this year. I'm going to be there. We're doing a boot camp. Should be a lot of fun. Yeah. And then, Thailand, Australia, I got my friends over there, Ariane, and my buddy Ben. And I think like, it's growing so fast, right? It's changing day to day. It's changing 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps back, 1 step forward. Yeah. We're doing this shuffle.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But the part about the shuffle too that I think is good for us is it's kind of like a sift, we're kind of like losing the people that just came into it for the money grab, which is like I think that's good for our industry right now is making sure that the people that are in it for the plant, are actually they're the ones that are sticking around. And the guys that came in with a wad of cash and just bought a bunch of licenses are, they're starting to evaporate off. Yeah. And we're distilling down to like, it's all these craft owner operators that are just, crushing it.
Yeah. The consolidation is real. And it's funny because like Colorado and Washington, the consolidation happened early on. And those are more mature markets, right? They've been around a lot longer. 5 years before California.
Yeah.
So, I feel like it's a different world up there and over in Colorado to a degree. And then, but California being as big as it is, it's, we're going through our first big round of consolidation, whereas Washington's on their second round of consolidation, where it's like, everything's getting distilled down. And we hope it goes down to the farmers that it should get passed on to, the people that should have the licenses. In a lot of cases, I think it will. And the people that are tough, that have tough skin, that are willing to fight, there's a place for them. The $300 pound isn't going to be like that forever.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think, but that basically is from overproduction.
Yeah. And that's, I love, like, the Oregon market is I claim that as my home market.
Yeah.
And I mean, everybody's like, oh my gosh, there's no way anybody's going to make it here. But these guys like Noah with Benton Arbor, Capricorn, Khalil there, like these scrappy guys that are just like, well, we got this.
Yeah.
They are crushing it, and they're making a great name for themselves, and they've got significant market share now.
Right.
And same with Doghouse too. And they stuck to their core at the grow quality flower.
Some of my favorite quality comes from Oregon.
Yeah.
Mother's Magnolia, Archive.
Yeah.
Archive in Portland. Adam, he grows amazing flower. He's a good friend.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's some really good flower from Oregon. I mean, our genetics originally, the loud genetics came from Oregon, originally from Eugene. I think a lot of our really good stuff that my friends were known for back in the day came from Oregon, right?
Yep. Yeah. And you look at, what's popular there is they're moving into pre-rolls.
Yeah.
Everybody, the Blackbird is kind of like, it's funny. I thought we saturated Oregon. I thought I was like, oh my gosh, there's no way we're going to sell any more machines. But now it's like, you got to have a machine to play because the big guys are at the top. And so everybody's like, oh, dang, like we got to get on this train. And so we're doing really well in Oregon. And we see the 5 packs, 10 packs, 12 packs.
Right.
That's on the up and up because people don't want to go to the store every day just to buy one joint. Yeah. It's like they want to stock up and they know they'll get a better value if they buy more.
Right.
And, then they have some multi-packs. That's kind of cool. Good Gardens has a pretty slick multi-pack where they've got, two of each strain, and they've got 3 or 4 strains in each box.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And
I like that.
It's super cool.
And if you trust the brand, you're going to buy it from them. It's like if your brand is not known, you're probably going to want to do singles in the beginning.
Yep.
But once you have a known brand and people trust the brand, they're going to want to buy, eventually it'll be 20. They're going to want that 20 pack.
Totally.
And I see that as the future.
Yep.
And it's like, especially if you're a regular smoker and you can get a better deal on multiples, right? And then you can buy your half ounce in a little box. And so 14 in a box,
Yeah. Yeah. That's all, it's funny. Like I have all these machines, at my facility. I got the demo room and I can hand roll. But I still go to the store and buy a pack of joints because it's convenient, It's like even just buying the flour and loading the machine, I'm like, well, why don't I just buy a pack of joints that I know are going to be good? So
I can't wait for Flow Gardens to see what they're doing with the type 2 and type 3s, because I feel like type 2s are a way it's going to be the thing of the future. A lot of people don't even know it yet. They don't even know what a type 3 chemotype is, where it's it's 50%. Around 50% CBD and 50% THC. And I think there's a huge potential for that. Same thing with just the flavorful CBD that's growing really well. That can be shipped anywhere in the United States, technically almost anywhere in the world.
Yeah. Well, and that's I think blends, right? Mixing a little bit of CBD in there just to mellow it out a little bit.
Yeah.
I call them my dad joints, but that's if I'm ever rolling for, any of the generations up, I'll roll them half and half with CBD.
Yeah.
And it really helps mellow it out. It just makes it so, you're not going to go crazy.
It gives you a more mellow effect. And a lot of times it's like a little slower onset, but uplifting, and you don't crash hard off them too. So like a lot of the modern day cultivars, a lot of them are real strong, and it's uplifting, and then you crash. Yeah. And when you're grumpy. I don't like being grumpy. And I like type 1s too, but I feel like, THCA type 1s that are high THC, that's okay too. But I feel like a lot of the stuff is really has a spike to it. And a lot of the stuff back in the day was more gradual. I mean, there was some strong stuff that slapped back in the day. The cat piss would get you higher than shit with just a couple hits, but we didn't have a ton of stuff that was like that in the 90s.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
A lot of stuff was more mellow, but there was amazing flavors. The weed in the 90s was incredible, right? We had so much more diversity because a lot of the stuff is so candy based now. Candy or gas, those are the two things you primarily see in California unless you go up into the hills. And then we've got amazing equatorial sativas that are just, mind blowing. But for the most part, you see a lot of candy and you see a lot of gas, which is going to change.
Yeah. Yeah. Things always change, right? It's the same as if you look at the craft market, it started with, ambers were really big and everybody was going after these amber beers. And then it went to like IPAs.
Yeah. And then it went to hazy.
Yeah.
And unfiltered hazy beer, and it's like, and it actually saves time and money.
I know.
It's so weird, and that market, and then they go through dry hops and wet hops and, marketing things like that. And I think that we go through similar trends, but I feel like ours are like 3 months and that's it for some things, right? Like where it's like super cool for 3 months. We had the candies for a long time and then it had to be purple. Since like 2018, it was like purple, purple, purple. Now we see that's going away. Toad venom is the big, that's the big conversation now is like, man, got to have that toad venom. And I feel like that's going to be more short-lived than a lot of things because it's been around for a couple of years now, right? But people are just hearing about it for the first time for whatever reason. And the thing is it's gas, but the cut got out now. So everybody's got the cut. They're going to grow it. They're going to make crosses with it. We'll probably see a lot of toad venom crosses in the upcoming years, but toad venom by itself, I don't see as being as popular because it was a $5,000 cut. They sell it to somebody. Now that person sells it for $2,500. They sell that to somebody else, $200.
Right.
$50. It's going to be available in nurseries in California for the masses.
Right.
Right. And so that loses its value and its appeal where it's very exotic in the beginning. Purple weed isn't even exotic weed anymore. It's so funny.
Yeah, I know. That's just like consumer markets, right? I think they just kind of like ebb and flow. And I mean, I feel like ours is like heavily influenced by social media and like, I wonder.
Viral. Viral. People love the viral things.
Yeah.
You have viral food. In the Bay Area, we have viral food. We have a viral fish sandwich. We have a viral shop that sells dumplings. We have these viral things, and they're crazy, and it's a fad, and then it fades.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. But I mean, it's cool because it hopefully those cuts do get out because like if something's big enough or has a big enough differentiation to like have that kind of a spike, then that's just like a really cool cultivar to be able to like cross with and like try the next gen out.
The reason it's so special and the reason people love it is because it's so strong, right? And toad venom because it's strong, bufo, whatever, but like it's so strong. And so I see that as the market was going this way. Now it's pivoting to the left, right? And we're going for stuff that's strong. People want strong stuff again, right? It's not all about flavor because for the longest time it was like, man, it's got to taste like candy. It's got to taste like, it shouldn't taste like weed. It should taste like candy.
Yeah.
Which I like the taste of weed.
Yeah.
I like the taste of skunky, gassy, fuely, real weed taste. Like that's what I grew up on. And I love that about the flavor of stuff. And we went in this, and there's nothing wrong with candy.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like candy too. I like Skittles. I like these things, but I feel like we kind of need to go back to our roots to a degree. And I mean, even with RollPros, we're going back to our roots with the way that joints used to be rolled and smoked. And although it's looking like a cigarette now in a good way. In a good way. Because we're talking about consistency.
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Well, and we went to these huge joints, right? So it's back in the day, we used to smoke these pinners, right? And we smoked these pinners and then they got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And now, we're putting ounces in joints.
Yeah.
And now it's going back down.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny when I was in the garage, like I was rolling these little like half-gram joints.
Yeah.
Cause half and like 0.6 gram. Cause I was like, that's about right. Like, but that was just me. Like, that's just what I wanted.
Yeah.
And like, as soon as I got that out kind of into the world, everybody's like, we need bigger. Yeah. I was like, totally. All right, let's back to the drawing board.
The dog walker is great for a lot of people. And I think there's a huge market for dog walkers in adult use. I think that it's a great thing because it's you smoke a couple puffs, you put it out, you go inside, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I'm a grammer sort of guy because I'll do that. I'll smoke a gram, put it out, good to go. It's super fast, super convenient. I can smoke a gram in about 5-6 minutes. Like, if it's myself, maybe 7.
Yeah.
Something like that. But, it's like, I really, I'm trying to get high.
Yeah. So, well, and you're in Cali, so like you can sit in your lawn chair out back and like have a nice smoke. I feel like the little dog walkers are big up in like Boston, where it's like freaking, it's 10 degrees out and you're like, I gotta get high,
Totally.
You're in the big puffy coat.
Yeah, -10. You got frostbite on your nose by the time the joint's done.
Yeah, you're like, I gotta get this done. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's cool too. Like all the different markets are different, it's like I'm blessed to be around Oregon where we have all these great flowers and everybody, has the size of joints that, I prefer. But then, you get down to the Bay and everybody's like into these like 2-gram blunts. And it's like, and then you go to like Boston and they're like, oh, I need like a pack of 20 little ones.
Sure.
You go to Michigan and they're like, we just need cheap. So they have a bunch of like these like stuffed cones. It's just like, it's kind of funny though. Like every little like culture has like their preferred method.
Yeah.
And like, I think it's great that, that as people get these Blackbirds, they can hit all those different markets, like same machine. You can run big old, 1-grammers. And then the next day you just throw smaller crutches in and you're running these little like, 0.5, 0.4 gram joints. So
yeah, it's interesting. Back 15 years ago, you go to different cities and they have different cultivars, right? If you go to New York, it was sour diesel. You go to LA, it was OG Kush. San Francisco was cookies. Right, that they were known for, even though LA basically, they grew the Kush in LA. New York got it from California, but almost all of it went there if we're talking about sour diesel, right? So like that sour that was popular in New York, the majority of it came from California, right? And then San Francisco, they were known for their cookies. Now it's like the genetics are spread out. Now it's like they have their own ways of consuming that are popular.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get more and more like that as we mature, as these markets mature. And, I guess there's things that play like cold weather.
Yeah. Weather. I mean,
can you smoke indoors? Do they allow, consumption indoors? All those things.
Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of cool. That's, that's the America, right? Like we're a mixing pot. So like you go to Texas, it's a whole different culture.
Yeah. Like, well, people love beverages in Texas. That's going to be the big beverage state. I guarantee you. It's also because it's hot. You don't want to smoke as much when it's hot, I think. Yeah. But people will still consume. And I think beverages are a nice way to do it. Also, for somebody who's never smoked before, you're not worried about your lungs. It's something I feel safe giving to my mother.
Totally.
It's interesting, but like where there's old people, like concentrations of old people in certain places in Arizona or Florida, those are where the edibles are just going to be huge.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I mean, there's cool new studies coming out too, like on like the aging population and how cannabis can help.
Yeah.
And like, I'm excited for, some of these guys to be retired and be like, you know what, I'm going to start smoking weed again. Just like back in the 70s.
Yeah. And then they're going to take one hit and they're doing this shit's way too strong. I don't want to smoke the leaves.
Yeah.
I actually have an older friend that I used to work for, and he would ask me to dry out leaves to give him to smoke because he didn't like the weed.
No way.
He said the weed is so different than this weed I grew up on. Just give me some fucking leaves. Right?
Like the big sun leaves?
Yeah, the big sun leaves. Not even the trim. He's one of the leaves because he liked the experience of smoking, but he didn't like the experience of getting really high. And the thing is the leaves, it would be like some trim and some of the, the fan leaves.
Yeah.
But when he smoked it, he would be like, yeah, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Doesn't really get me high, but gives me that experience, the nostalgia.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's going to bring back the Mexican like brickweed? Be like, put that on the shelf. Press like seeds in it and stuff.
Well, when we can import it from Mexico, I mean, yeah, I think that could be a thing.
That might be a thing.
Very nostalgic.
I don't doubt this market anymore. Like I see things that come out and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like no way that's going to sell. Yeah. But then it crushes. And so you're like, maybe that is a thing.
I'm done hating on stuff in the industry where I see something like that. I'd never use that. I quit speaking in absolutes about things because I've been wrong so many times.
Yeah.
Whether it's feminized seeds or LED lights, whether it's auto flowers, CryoCure is the new one where I'm not convinced on any of the CryoCure stuff. The astronaut ice cream of the weed world is not my thing. And I do see the potential in it though. Yeah. I do think that someday somebody's going to come to me and show me something where I'm like, damn, that's CryoCure weed. Wow, that's fucking amazing. I'm totally on board with it. And I'm totally on board with people trying out different things and one day figuring it out and showing it to me and me going, man, I was wrong about that.
Yeah.
Without saying, no, this is, no in an absolute. That's
a very powerful driving force is being able to prove somebody wrong.
Yeah.
Like I think that I had a math teacher in high school that I told him I wanted to become an engineer. And he's like, Kyle, it's a lot of math. And like, you're not that good at math. And like, So great high school teacher. But I kind of like go back to it. I'm like, maybe he knew like who I was because I was rebellious but that drove me to go to engineering school and like I just wanted to prove him wrong, and I think that's a lot of the things when we run up onto these standards where I had a buddy when I first started developing this and he was like, just make a machine that fills the cones. Like this is what we're doing. Just make a machine.
Just do what everyone else does.
Yeah. And I was just like, no. He's like, but just do it. Like this is the easy. Like this is what you do, But I wanted to kind of prove him wrong because I was like, no, man, that's not how you make a good joint.
Yeah.
And so you're right though. This industry, I'm quick to be like, there's no way that's gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
But then that just sends somebody into the garage being like, all right, well, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to find a way
absolutely
to make the ice cream weed or,
I've always been like that too. When somebody tells me I can't do something, I want to do it. Or that I can't, I'm never going to be this or I'm never going to be that, I like challenges. I like stepping up and it's like, I like doing things that are uncomfortable too. Like, I think that's something we should all look at doing, like, getting out of your comfort zone all the time. I'm constantly out of my comfort zone. I'm constantly in a state of stress.
Yeah.
And I excel under stressful conditions. I worked as a chef, and I feel like a lot of those things really helped me when it came to cannabis. Stay organized. Understanding quality is another one. Building and developing a palate. Like all those things have set me up for who I am today. And I think the more uncomfortable you are with the stuff you do, you're probably on the right track if you're uncomfortable.
Totally. Yeah. Like that's when you grow, is like when you're out of your element, you got that weird sweat on the back of your neck.
Yeah.
And you're like, this is going to get weird.
Right.
But like once you go through that, then you're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. Or like, oh, I figured this out. Or that was a train wreck. I gotta do better next time.
Yep. But your dad tells you you'll never compete in the Olympics, you can compete in the Zolympics.
Yeah. That's good.
It's so funny. Yeah, it's funny because there's always going to be the naysayers that are going to say you can't do that. Or when you're on the path, especially in the beginning, people are going to doubt you. They're going to say, that's not even possible.
Yeah.
There's no way you can do that. Or it's a bad idea. A lot of people will tell you your idea is a bad idea, but if you really believe in it, you should go do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe that's why everybody in cannabis is kind of similar to us in that, where it's like, because we were told that, don't do weed.
Yeah.
Don't do that. It's bad for you.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, I'm going to do it. Like,
oh yeah, people in weed, they're bad people. It's illegal, right. And so it's bad. And I think even my parents' generation, a lot of them, they were raised to believe that cannabis was bad.
Yeah.
And bad people do that kind of stuff. Yeah. It's bad for you. It's bad for memory loss.
Yeah.
You just need Rise coffee. Right? That's been my solution, right? And I feel like my memory is just as good as it's ever been. I've gone through phases where I thought my memory was fading, but I think the more you work on it, the better it gets too. And I think consciously trying to improve your memory makes a big difference too.
100%. Yeah. You got to be, just trying to be the best person you can be, and just being better than the guy you were yesterday is the...
Yeah. And that's what I've learned over the period of the last 48 years is like, I'm only in competition with myself. I don't really look at other people as competition, whether it's genetics or podcasts or anything. We're all doing our own thing. Right. And if I can put out a better podcast than the last one, that's where I'm winning. Right.
Yeah.
And my intention was never to make the podcasting a career or something that was monetized in the beginning. And now we've done really well with it. It's a lot of fun. And I got to remind myself all the time that these podcasts need to be fun. It's about having a good time. It's about educating people. It's about our customers, our seed customers watching it. Originally, it was just supposed to be something that was like, okay, well, this can kind of highlight what I do. We have our seeds here. We can talk about genetics. We can talk about weed. And it's really turned into something so much bigger than myself. And I have these amazing guests like yourself on, that I feel like can show the world a different perspective. We have so many people out there that have their perspective of what they're doing that can make the world a better place. And I feel like we're all kind of just putting our thumbprints on this plant, moving this plant forward in our own unique way, our own authentic way, right? Because authenticity is the most important part.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. Being true to yourself and then learning about other people's perspectives. I think that is like, I always feel like empathy is like one of the greatest business attributes. Like that's like, I fall on my empathy a lot more than I do like fall on like confidence or something like that, because I'm always trying to understand other people's perspectives, and like, I just want to see how does James look at this machine, like how is he looking at it, and how is he gonna, use it to, to make a profit and make a good experience for your customers. And I think that the more we can do that, the better. It's just getting that perspective of the whole, the whole group.
I agree. And, I really try to look at life through other people's lenses too. And I'm constantly thinking, well, why do they think like this? Instead of thinking, well, man, they're wrong. It's my first question is, why are they thinking like this? Because I understand that as we live through life, from the moment we're born till right now in the present, we have these filters. Every time we experience something, that's the way we see stuff, right? And that's the way we experience the world. But also when people are projecting stuff, whether it's hate, whether it's this, other countries, other people, other haters online, why are they thinking? And a lot of it boils down to trauma, right? And I'm able to at least recognize that, maybe the reason they're doing this is because of all these other things. It's not just this. A lot of times, I think in reality, we see the symptom, but we don't see the problem. And I think in business, it's like that too. We see the symptoms, but we don't really trace it back to the problems. And if you can't fix the problems, you'll never fix the symptom that you're seeing.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great perspective. Yeah. On the like symptoms. Yeah. I see that too. I mean, we've got 38 employees now, and sometimes, I can go into a situation and I'm like, oh, you know what? This just got heated because like this individual has this filter on, and it's because of this prior trauma, Yeah. And I'm way more empathetic. I'm way more like accepting of the situation, where I feel like anybody else would just be like, we're just going to like, I'm just going to bulldoze this, and I'm going to be like, nope, we're here to work and you need to leave that at home.
Right.
But instead I'm like, hey, like, let's go grab a cup of coffee, like, let's talk about what you're feeling right now. And that also is what helps the engagement, right? Like you get, and that's, you talk about my team, they're engaged with me and they believe in our mission, and I'm crazy. I kind of like flip positions where I'm like serving them now, like I'm, they all have health care. They all got, good wages. And like, I'm just trying to like provide everything for them to be successful.
Right.
And because that's what I wanted as an employee back in my previous life. And I find that if you give them that and you give them the time of day, they can do amazing things, and that's been a really exciting part of like my growth path in this journey.
Totally. Well, I love that mentality. Like we all win together, right? There's some companies where it's like, no, you work for me, you're my pawn.
Yeah.
And then there's the other mentality is like, we all win together. We're all going to lose together too, right? So we hopefully we'll all win together. But if we're losing, we're going to lose together. And if we win, we're going to win together. But we're all in this together.
Right.
And I see two types of people in business where there's the people that point the fingers, and then there's the owners that are, they're up there with their employees doing stuff. And those are the best companies. I've worked for people like that. And it's just, those are the environments that I've enjoyed working in, where it's like, oh man, we're all in this together. We're all working on stuff. It's not just this dude who comes in to make sure we're doing our job. This dude is here fighting right alongside us, who believes in the job, who believes in what we're doing. And I try to live up to those standards. I try to live up to like my father was very much like that. My father was a fighter, very violent person at times, right? But he would give the shirt off his back to anybody. And when it came to work, when it came to things, he would put other people first, but he was the first person to do the pushing, the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
I saw my dad do a lot of heavy lifting, owning a small business with 50 employees. He did a lot of the heavy lifting with people, and he was always there. Like they would get fed first. Employees would always get fed first. And these are the standards that I try to live by too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes for a great work environment, and it makes for a lot of good times, like we have a lot of fun together.
Right.
And then, when times are tough or there's like, I feel like I was jumping on the grenade, like everything. I was just like, I got this, you guys, like, let's do this. I got this. And as I started to grow, I couldn't do it. But like the next like set of people, like all my guys started jumping on things.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if it's like outside of your job description, like, hey, this isn't what I'm supposed to be doing. Like everybody on my team is the first to recognize it and jump on it, and that's like, man, you get a bunch of like strong, like good problem solvers like that. And you really start to feel like you could do anything, like
when you can. I firmly believe that you can do anything you set your mind to with the right team.
Yeah.
And, it's like one of those things, like even when the times are tough, if you have a good team, it just is so much easier because you have people that you're like, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
Right. And this industry is full of tough times, right? It's not like it used to be. It's not a bunch of just easy times, but I feel like it's going to get better and then it's probably going to get worse.
Yeah.
It's going to get better and it's going to get worse. So you really got to roll with the punches too.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be adaptable. That's the other thing.
You never know what the government's going to throw at you. You never know, statewide legalization, especially with cannabis. It's like, it's unstable. It's just unstable. And we're in the infancy of a market that's going to be so big, growing, significantly every year for at least the next 10 to 15 years. There's going to be significant growth, probably in the next 50 years, right? Yeah. On an international scale.
Totally. Well, I mean, that's like one of the things that helps me sleep at night is like, man, yeah, this might be tough right now, but we survived prohibition for like 50 years. And like it not only survived, it thrived, It's like, and I was able to go get a, bag of weed in any city I lived in. And when I traveled, you could get weed. It's like this product is wanted by the people so much,
right,
that there will always be an industry for it. And even if they shut it down, like, screw it. Like we'll go back into the black market. Like, like I don't think they can stop us.
It's at this point, it's not possible. No. It's not it's not possible at this point. I mean, I guess anything is possible, but that in my opinion is not something that's there would be World War III before that happened, in my opinion.
Yeah, or we just go back to growing in our closets again, and like, it's
but then people go back to prison, and so like I don't see
bad.
that's the worst part about it, right? Like, so it becomes illegal, and they put people in prison for this plant, which is the best part about legalization was the fact that people aren't going to prison for a plant,
right?
But yeah, we live in wild times, man. It's like, and throughout history, if you study history, there's always wild times. Mm-hmm. You know, cowboys and Indians, those were wild times. A lot more people were dying back then.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I mean, even the new frontier when they were exploring into the United States, pretty wild times. And, you know, I think we're just blessed to be alive during this time we're at this, this time where technology meets the past, where we're going, full blown. We get to see it firsthand, technology going into the future, which the technology is from the time we were kids, right? Like literally, I got to see computers, but there was a time when I was a kid where we didn't really have computers, 1978, right? There was not a lot of computers, and we saw the first computers emerging in the 80s to where everybody has a computer in their hand now on their phone. Literally, we had phones that you would have to, the dial.
Yeah.
It was like that's where I came from, black and white TVs. I think we had color TVs when I was a kid.
Yeah.
If I remember right, but they were big, clunky TVs. Now they're paper thin.
Yeah.
Pretty wild.
I know. Yeah. And it's cool to be a part of that too, just like, cause it's like when you zoom out, it is like, there's all these technologies and you're like, whoa, this must be, like technology is advancing so quick.
Right.
But like when you start boiling everything down, everything comes down to just a bunch of little problems.
Yeah.
And so like I saw that, as a product engineer at, HP is a good one. I mean, those printers are doing a lot of things in there. Like it's pretty spectacular, the resolution of photo you can get out of
wild.
Yeah, it's like
out of a home printer now.
Yeah.
Compared to that used to be a $10,000 printer. Now they turned a $10,000 printer into something that's affordable for everybody.
Exactly.
Same thing with photography. It's like the technology with photography, so that leads me into my next question, which would be, how do you see AI in the future and how do you see AI as applied to this industry?
I think AI is going to be similar to like the internet, where it's going to be this like kind of uniform layer on every business that helps with like a lot of the I don't want to say busy work, but like the things that are more just like kind of like you go through the motions. So I also think that like it's going to be great for analyzing data, like big sacks of data, or like I think that is going to be really monumental. I don't necessarily see like it changing how we work. Like I think it's going to help how we work, but like, for me, like I'm still going to work with my hands, I'm still going to 3D print things. I'm still going to, put things together and like, but as far as like, getting financial reports together or like, hey, do an analysis on the cannabis industry, right now, like those are like rather big efforts. Mm-hmm. And with AI, it's just like, it's just a couple clicks of a button. But I feel like it's just going to be this like layer of efficiency that it's going to just help everybody, work a little bit more efficient.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't wait for my RollPros robot.
Yeah. Right. Like having a robot operate the machine, like I think that would be cool.
Oh, absolutely. And we're not too far away from that. I think, a lot of people see that as the future, and it's like the future's here, guys. They already are producing robots, right? We have a robot arm for tissue culture in our tissue culture. It's an arm, right? So it's not a full blown robot, but it's a robot arm. But we're here already, right? The robots are here. The robots are only going to improve things as far as efficiency.
Yeah.
People, whatever you say or dislike or like about robots, it's like it's going to improve efficiency.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, and I still think like, there's gonna be like some clever inventions, in like any industry really. Like, like if you had a robot that was hand rolling joints, like that'd be really hard. That's a hard problem to give a robot, right? All the dexterity that it takes.
Yeah.
And so, I still think that, there's going to be need for the creative problem solving process.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be actually the next phase of it, is like people that are creatives are going to kind of like filter to the top because they're not necessarily the most like knowledgeable, but they can see things from different perspectives and kind of start unlocking some of these like solutions. And then the processing power of AI is just going to help like push that through.
Oh yeah. I mean, for breeding, the potential for AI is huge. Predictive modeling.
Yeah.
That predictive modeling, especially, and not just with genetics, with everything, the potential for predictive modeling is just so huge. Anything that relies on, long-term, like with breeding, you're going through multiple generations, and each generation you're inputting data. And, once they can make sequencing super affordable, the sky is the limit.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing that I think AI is going to drive like socially is, I think we're gonna value authentic human interaction way more. I don't know if you've gotten a call yet from like an AI bot, but like I already hate spam calls, but now I'm like, well, at least it's a spam call with a person, and like the spam calls where it's a robot,
I just don't answer. I don't answer any of them.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, I mean, I think the AI voice assistants, those are great, where you can have your AI assistant that answers your phone for you when you're in podcasts.
Yeah.
And it's like, but a lot of people text now too. So it's like, but I could have my AI assistant responding to my texts.
Totally. If it knows what you're going to say, I mean.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, like this kind of stuff, like just showing up and like seeing people eye to eye, I think that's going to be more and more valued.
Well, the authentic experience is going to be valued so much more, because you will be able to get the AI experience, but then there's going to be the authentic experience, and people are going to pay premium for that authentic experience.
Right.
So yeah, a lot of fun things in store for us.
I know. It's a great time to be alive.
Seriously. So if you had one piece of advice for your younger self, or let me rephrase that. If you had one piece of advice for an entrepreneur that's coming into this industry, what would that one piece of advice be?
Don't listen to everything. Don't listen to everything people say. I think, sometimes you can get like misinformation from like a potential customer. So, like I think it's good to kind of hold to your own core values.
Right.
And yeah, I think, keep going, right? Like just keep going. Like don't stop. Like that's the thing, is like Babe Ruth said, it's hard to beat somebody that doesn't give up. And that's the thing, is like, you don't have to give up. Just keep going, like keep trying, keep at it, and value your failures, like there's not a whole lot to learn from success, but failures is that's where you learn, and that's when you grow.
Right.
So yeah. And if it was back to my 18-year-old self, I know he's already super proud of me. So I just, fist bump him and be like, keep smoking weed. And
now you got to work on the 80-year-old self, right? I feel like those are the two people, the only two people you need to impress are the 18-year-old self and the 80-year-old self, right? Like literally, I live by that. My 18-year-old self is jumping up and down right now, giving me high fives.
Yeah.
And my 80-year-old self, we're working on that. And that's one of those daily improvement things. And I feel like that's really the goal, is to improve on yourself daily. Like if you can just make one small improvement, make sure you're getting up on, I think being on time to stuff is like super, super important. I try to be early. I grew up with a father also that was never late. He was always early. He would leave way ahead of time for everything, but he was never late with stuff. And I feel like if you're on time, you're late.
Yeah.
That's always been my mentality. And same thing with goals. When you're trying to do stuff, it's like, I always try to, beat your goals. Like that's a goal, but that doesn't mean you can't do it faster. You can't do it better.
Yeah. And stop talking about your goals. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a very Portland thing too.
Yeah. Yeah. Just get out there, try some stuff.
Right.
Get weird, get uncomfortable.
Get uncomfortable, find out who you are. And you do that through experience. I feel like that's the other thing is like, you don't know who you are by just sitting on the couch. You need to go do stuff to figure out who you are and what you like. Right. And with cannabis, you want to find out what you like. Go smoke a bunch of varieties. Quit looking at Instagram to try to figure out what you like or what you think is popular. Go try a bunch of different things. Right. And same thing with joints. Go try a bunch of different joints. Learn how to roll a joint, learn how to roll different types of joints and figure out what you like for yourself, because quality is subjective with everything in life. It's like, what one person likes may not be. I mean, some people don't like spinach. Some people don't like crab, even though crab is amazing. Spinach is amazing.
Yeah.
So we're all unique and we all have our own flavor palettes. We all see the world through this unique lens. So I think the best thing is just to get out there and live life.
Yeah. Wow. I like that.
So this has been a fun podcast, man. Really great. So
Yeah, we always have great conversations, and hopefully we'll get into the testing parameters later. And like, we got so much more. We always have more to talk about, but I always enjoy our time together. Yeah,
well, we need to create an app to where people can track the way things taste, the way things make them feel. I think it'd be great on their phone. People want convenience. Let's collect data through an app.
I like it. Yeah.
The RollPros app.
Yeah, we already got one.
Seriously. Well, yeah. So, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. If people are looking to find more about Kyle or more about RollPros, where is the best place to go?
Yeah, I think, you guys, you can follow us on Instagram. We're RollPros, and, LinkedIn. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm trying to get more active on it. Also just reach out, like I'm open. I'm an open book. If you want to reach out, DM me. And let's start talking. And if you value high quality flower and you like to smoke joints, you're going to love this machine. So
absolutely. And if you're adult use cannabis anywhere in the United States, you can contact RollPros to find out someone who can do tolling for you. Mm-hmm. There's companies all over the place in most states now. Like literally it's getting to that point where you're in a lot of states. Yeah. You want to go Northern California, Southern California. We're in Northern California, but there's companies down south that can also do it. I feel like, Oregon, Washington, there's places all over. So
yeah, we'll hook you up. Like, I'm all about, supporting my customers too. And so like, if you just want to like try it out, like, contact our team and we'll find somebody locally that you can go get some joints made on. And yeah.
I'm glad this wasn't an advertisement. It was a good podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Totally. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you to our sponsors. Thank you guys very much for your support. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe down below.